What's going on? Welcome back to Earth's Mightiest Idiots, episode 3. We are nerds. We are idiots. We are nerds who are idiots.
We are Earth's Mightiest Idiots.
We are Earth's Mightiest Idiots. We are here in our collective homes, my basement, your not basement. And today we're going to talk about some things, as you would expect when you clicked on this. You probably already know what we're talking about and who we're battling, because that's the beauty of how YouTube titles work. Programming note. Want to make sure everybody knows that moving forward, including the last episode, if you did not notice, timestamps in the description. If you'd like to fast forward past the reviews because you don't want spoilers, sure, timestamps available. If you just want to go to the battle where we look like complete and utter fools, you could do that if you'd like. We do appreciate a complete watch because, of course, it's good for the YouTube algorithm. And together we can defeat the algorithm, just like Kenobi is going to vanquish whoever the villain is of Kenobi. And we're going to get there. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, how have you been in the past week since we've spoken, and what's going on?
I'm good. I've been enjoying some great quality streaming shows. I was super excited, and am super excited about Kenobi because that's why I got Disney Plus when I heard the rumors of Kenobi coming. It's the entire reason for my subscription, so I was very excited about that. Very excited for Stranger Things return. I'm a big Stranger Things fans, and there was probably about a 3-year gap between 3 and 4.
Very long time, yeah.
You could see it because they look like they're about 40.
But well, that's one of our things to talk about.
But no, I'm very into it. Got some, critiques, little nitpicks, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Yes, and just so everyone is aware, obviously, as always, spoilers. We are only going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of Kenobi because neither of us have seen the third yet. So we're at least hopefully on level playing field with you there. And then Stranger Things, we're going to talk about the first 4 episodes. We'll handle the next, I think it's 3 in the first, next 3 in the first part or something like that.
7 total, someone told me.
Yeah, so we'll handle the next 3 in the next episode. And then in July, when the final 2 movie length episodes come out, we'll figure out a way to. I heard the last one is like 2.5 hours.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's going to be like an hour and a half and then 2.5 hours.
I haven't really been following it just because I was trying to keep myself from getting too excited and then having to. So I haven't really been following it, the behind the scenes stuff.
Yes. And before we jump into the reviews, 2 quick news or news adjacent items. Kevin Feige clearly listens to Earth's Mightiest Idiots because not one day after we released this episode, Disney announced that they were fixing the CGI on She-Hulk. And I mean, clearly we're booming in popularity. We
are definitely becoming influential. And though Kevin Feige may not admit it, I do think he was watching our show. So you're welcome.
And if you're a loyal fan of us, I've made this executive decision just now. You are thereby an idiot. So Kevin Feige, you're an idiot. Welcome to the Idiot Club.
And to all the fans of the MCU, you're welcome.
You're also idiots, but in a nice way. Other programming notes. So the last battle was Booster Gold versus Magic. I was a little caught off guard by Magic because I did not know who Magic was. I have since learned that she was in the New Mutants movie, which I refuse to watch. I will not watch it. It was probably horrible. It took about 13 years to come out because it was rescheduled 100 times. I didn't even know the actress who played Magic, who is now exceptionally popular. I had no clue. And I remain steadfast in my belief that I will not watch New Mutants. So I just want to update you all there.
Convictions.
Yeah, my convictions are strong and true. The entire old X-Men universe was terrible. Most of it. I shouldn't say all of it. Most of it was.
Most of the movies were terrible.
It might come into the MCU.
Throw continuity in the trash can. That's
Yeah. Yeah. So before
they almost fixed it in Days of Future Past, but then they're like, whatever, let's throw it back in the trash.
Yeah, it had moments that were good, and Logan is an all-time great superhero movie. I don't even know where that exists or if it truly exists in that unit. Who knows? Speaking of X-Men, we mentioned Oscar Isaac's character in which
Moon Knight.
No, in X-Men.
Apocalypse.
Sorry, it was so bad I forgot. He looked like Ivan Ooze. So funky shirt Friday or whatever. It's not even Friday. Ivan Ooze is the Goo Father, everybody. We're going to have t-shirt days on this show. So the Goo Father is here. And I know you have a shirt you'd like to showcase.
Dude, this is a shirt that was given to me by my buddy Sean. It's one of my favorite shirts with my boy Vader. There we go.
That's him doing his thing.
That's him.
He's DJ Vades.
He is.
Okay, so everything's out of the way. Let's jump right in. Stranger Things. Things are stranger than we last saw them.
They are visually stranger as well.
Visually stranger. I'm going to start with my highest point so far.
All right.
I think Vecna is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vecna's design is super cool. I think the way he speaks is super cool. He's human-like. You're 2 episodes ahead, so don't spoil if you've learned things. But where I am right now, I don't know a ton about why he is. I know what he is a little bit, but I don't know why he is. But even still, he's
being
super
2
cool.
episodes ahead, they have not really cleared that up. So it's
great.
Okay.
I think Vecna's awesome. I have always loved from the beginning of Stranger Things, even though I'm not necessarily a thriller or horror fan, the ability to take their Dungeons and Dragons characters and make them seem like feasibly real, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? They're not those characters. They just kind of name them those characters.
Of course. Yeah.
I got to give credit to Joey, my stepson, because he has a pretty good theory that, and it's a bit meta, which I love, is that by the end of the series in general, you're going to find that Mike and the gang are just characters another group of kids is playing in D&D.
That would be super, super cool. It kind of a little weird because
weird, but it is pretty cool that whatever adventure they're playing, the monster they're battling in that adventure just happens to be the monster they're battling in the series.
Yeah, and
so which lends a little credit to the theory that there's a little more. But regardless of that, I thought it was creative, and I'm actually a huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd myself.
Of course.
So I do have the between the 80s nostalgia, which is when I grew up, and the Dungeons and Dragons, and I actually lived through the connections with the cult and the Satan worship that they talk about.
Dungeons and Dragons makes kids murderers.
Very
or something.
amusing time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I like the show a lot, and very different than the other seasons. Much more violent.
Yes.
Than the others, especially with the horrible way they die.
Yeah.
Which is very visual.
Yeah.
And very gruesome.
I think so. I've met at this point 2 major new characters. I love Eddie. Eddie's super cool.
Eddie's great. I love Eddie too.
I forgot the basketball captain's name. He sucks. But he has motivations to suck. So
he does, and
he still sucks though.
He does suck, but he's written to suck.
Exactly. No, he is written to suck 100%, but he still sucks.
Mm-hmm. He's basically a Chad.
He is the Chad.
He is the Chad. Yeah.
He's got his white polo tucked into his khaki. He looks like a Mormon.
Yeah.
Who plays basketball quite well.
Yeah, he's just that kind of preppy, private school looking.
Private school at a poor kid's public school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I love Eddie. I also like Argyle.
Argyle, that's right, Argyle as well. He's super cool. He's funny.
Yeah,
he's funny. My main complaint for Stranger Things so far, in some ways, is also a positive. So let me explain that. They have split the group into factions, not just because of the California thing and the Indiana thing. Robin and Nancy go off on their own to go see Victor Creel. Dustin and his crew go this way with Max. Lucas is with the basketball kids, but now he's also back with Dustin. It provides opportunities to tell more story because they're in so many different places. But I think part of the thing that made Stranger Things so charming in the beginning was all of that cast chemistry together. Mm-hmm. And now I'm missing so much of that chemistry. Like Mike and Will together suck. Get them off the screen. I hate them a lot.
Yeah, especially,
and like Dustin is the only character left, in my opinion, who shows any sort of heart. I love Dustin. He's my favorite.
Yeah, Dustin is great. yeah, it does have the opportunities to tell more stories, but it has greater opportunities to make it disjointed and then
Yes.
have to race to the end of the season to wrap things up neatly.
Mhm.
And
Because eventually they have to meet up. And where I am, I'm not there yet.
You have Hopper in Russia.
Mhm.
You have Mike and Will and Jonathan and Nancy and I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm already screwing up the locations.
And like 11 is now just going to rediscover her superpowers
so
by herself.
And Mike, and Will and Jonathan, they're in California, while you have the whole Vecna thing happening in Hawkins. So yeah, it feels very disjointed, and I keep shuffling in my head the wrong people at the wrong locations.
Yeah. Especially because they had Mike travel from Hawkins to California. It jumps everything around. Who's flying to Alaska? Like it's like a globe-trotting event.
I do love Dustin, but my favorite character ended up being Steve.
Oh, Steve is cool.
I didn't like Steve because he was essentially the Chad of season 1. But the chemistry between Steve and Dustin
is very interesting.
Is great, and I think Steve is I'm team Steve.
Yeah, the one thing that I'm happy that is redeemed, at least so far. Lucas is like being pulled between his new friends or hopeful friends or popularity, whatever it is. Versus the OG homies.
Oh yeah.
And it seems like where I'm at, he's turned that corner back to like, those are my friends. I should be with my friends, especially because there's danger. But it was almost like,
well, you're getting the mob mentality now where they're getting a little crazy.
Yeah, but it was also his scenes with the basketball team were cringy. I think they were inherently and purposefully cringy, but they just didn't feel natural.
He doesn't fit in. Like he's trying to fit in, but he stands out.
Yeah.
And I think he's obviously not trying to stand out. He's trying to conform and be accepted, and in the process help his buddies out and get them accepted, except they're not interested in the slightest.
Yeah, they're all about being not even the rebels, just like who they are. They don't care what people think.
Being themselves.
Yeah.
Being nerds.
Yeah. And what's crazy to think is now in the year 2022, you can be a nerd and have a TV show.
Well, that's the crazy thing is, when I was a kid, being a nerd was like, like the cooties, it was like the plague. Now it's like, look at us. Being a nerd now is cool. You have all the Marvel movies, you have Big Bang Theory, everything. It's cool now to be a nerd. So this is like a renaissance. I think the nerd renaissance.
I'm 29 years old and have a significant other who lets me have Power Rangers toys in the basement. Like, I mean, I'm in.
And there they are in back of you.
Yeah. All right. So the only other thing I wanted to mention about Stranger Things is the Hopper situation. It's got me stressed because the last thing I saw was he got to his hideout, fingered the peanut butter, took a nice giant glob of it in his mouth, which who doesn't love a nice spoonful of peanut butter? And then he gets turned on.
Yes.
By Yuri, right? His name was Yuri?
Yeah, Yuri.
Yeah.
Yuri turns on.
Yeah, so maybe it was stupid of me to expect him to just be on his way home. But to see the struggle he had already gone through in 3.5 episodes, I thought that would be enough, but I guess not.
It's pretty cruel that he came so far only to be dragged, be caught. But that goes back to my concerns is that you've spent 3.5 episodes trying to show his very thought out escape plan, which falls short right near the end. So now do you keep him in Russia and pick it up in another portion, another season? Or do you somehow, all right, well, they fly back to Hawkins, Hopper gets on a jet with Joyce and Murray. And by the way, Murray is also one of my favorite characters.
He's great. He makes good risotto.
So I think they can make the very easy mistake of rushing through to wrap things up, which I would almost rather they leave it on a cliffhanger than rush to tie it all up. Yeah,
and everyone knew the second Hopper died that he was not dead. So I don't think we needed this prolonged Russian journey. It could have been an episode or two like, hey, I'm here, I'm fine, whatever, a little bit of struggle, now I'm home. But this, like you said, it really feels just like it's literal torture. But for us as viewers and storytellers, it's like literal torture.
Yeah, you're anxious for him to be reunited with his friends, and you see all the struggles he's going through.
Because it would be ridiculous if he dies in Russia. Like, what was the point of reintroducing him if you're just going to kill him?
Yeah, I don't think they can do that. I was a little disappointed. I won't say disappointed. I thought his escape method when it blew up was to jump into the Upside Down, and maybe came out in Russia. Meaning, like maybe there's another gate in Russia.
Yeah.
Maybe time and space functions differently. I was a little disappointed to just find out he jumped off the ledge and was on a lower floor. That was. I was.
And the Russians came up and
I
were
thought
like,
I thought he kind of just jumped in as it was closing, and that's how he got out.
The Russians came to him and like, you will build our train tracks, and that was
not as epic as I would have liked. I'm also a little confused because if you remember the end of season 3 when they referenced the Medican in the prison, the Russians have a Demigorgon they showed at the end of season 3.
They do. Where's he?
I have not seen a Demigorgon. You know, and it also raises the question.
They can control it.
Yeah, that is the question. So you have a creature that can literally shift from one reality to the next. How do you contain it? I would like to know.
Questions to be answered.
Know what happened to him?
Because that would be what you call a major plot hole if they forget about that.
Yeah. And I've been paying attention, so I want to know what happened to him.
Yes, I will be finishing the remainder of season 4, part 1 in the coming days. Moving on, Kenobi. I think we both have more positive feelings for that show. Not to say it's all positive, but more positive for Kenobi. What is your overall take on just the show so far? 2 episodes. Okay. What do you think?
Okay. Well,
lightsaber.
I would rate the show.
They say the pen is mightier than the sword.
I don't know, man. This is Luke's beautiful lightsaber.
Yeah, you'd cut my pen.
I got a theory on Luke's lightsaber too. I could share unrelated to Kenobi, or is it? I don't know. The show's not finished. But
yes.
If I were to rate it on a 1 to 10, I would say right now, having only seen 2 episodes, I would give it a solid 8.5.
Ooh. Okay.
I love more than I dislike. I think, man, I can talk about this for so long because there's so many note takes with this. But I think
we should talk about the positives and then because there are more positives and then just mention a couple negatives.
Okay, so list of positives. Yes. 1, you have Ewan McGregor back as Kenobi, which is incredible. For
all of the flack that the trilogy he's a part of gets, they've aged better. However, he is one of the best Star Wars characters and actors we've had in the worst movies.
He is my absolute favorite character from the prequels, and they really expanded upon him in Clone Wars as well, and then even at Rebels. So to see him back now and having Ewan McGregor play him again is epic for me.
And he's a good actor.
Back is awesome.
He was able in theory, it's been 10 years since we've seen him.
Yes.
At least in show canon.
Yeah,
he wears that on his face. Like he wears the struggle of those 10 years on his face.
You can see the PTSD going on, the nightmares of Anakin, his lack of confidence in himself, his depression and monotonous lifestyle. He's living in utter poverty.
Yep, he's just begging for Qui-Gon to show his presence, which if they kept Liam Neeson from us, the best kept secret ever. Yeah.
I do like how Yoda at the end of Revenge of the Sith said, "Oh, I have more training for you." And I do like that we're 10 years out and he has yet to have mastered speaking to Qui-Gon, which I also think lends to his depression. So,
well, I mean, he also, in theory, didn't use the Force for 10 years because, spoiler, which at this point we shouldn't be spoiling anything, but when baby Leia or young Leia is falling from that roof, we all know he's going to use the Force. It took him a second to tap into it.
Yeah, that was a great moment because you could tell that's like the first time he's used the Force in quite a while.
Maybe not 10 years.
He was not sure he was catching Leia when she fell. Yeah, because she got awfully close to the ground.
Yeah, and young Leia, while we bring her up, we didn't know we needed Grogu, and we were given Grogu. I didn't know I needed young Leia, and that little actress they found is incredible.
One of my things I like about the show too is, Luke and Leia did not know each other as children, but you can see how alike they are in many ways. Always looking to the horizon, counting the ships, doing, mischievous, sneaking around. So they're very much, very similar, even having no, connection to one another, which I really like.
And they had the same like guardian angel in Obi-Wan, like the same Uncle Ben. They had him.
Yeah, Kenobi Santa Claus sneaking in at night.
Exactly.
A spaceship.
Yep.
Which I thought was a nice touch. I also really, really like. I can never remember his name, but the actor who's playing Owen Lars in the show.
He's a very good actor. I forgot, he's like very famous, very good. I forgot his name too. I didn't realize he was so standoffish though as a character.
Oh yeah. Owen Lars, even when you look at A New Hope before he turns into a toasted marshmallow, absolutely is not a fan of Kenobi whatsoever. You don't really, you kind of figure out why, to protect Luke and all that, keep him away from the resist, blah blah blah. But now you really see, now that we know from Revenge of the Sith, and we know that Kenobi and Owen have been talking, and I like that you can see there's a respect for one another, but there's also, here's this guy who's not a Jedi, he's a simple farmer, but he stands up to a Sith Inquisitor having a lightsaber on his neck, protecting a man he doesn't like, or seemingly doesn't like, because he has his own, not only trying to protect Luke, but I think has his own code of honor, so, and I think that's fantastic. And he's already become a meme in just one episode. So it's great.
And we should talk Inquisitors, because I think for me, and definitely for you, that's where more of the negatives come in. Negatives that could still be proven positives, but for now, negatives. Jury's out on the third sister. The character is written the way we're supposed to feel about it. Like, I think we're supposed
She's supposed to be annoying. She's
exactly
terribly annoying.
She's brash. She's doesn't like authority, which I guess is really what the Sith are in general.
She's a Vader fangirl, so she's trying to win favor with him.
I read one theory. You might have even told me. I don't remember. But what if she was a youngling that escaped being killed?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. I think she was the little girl in the very beginning when they showed Order 66 again. I think that little group she escaped with either ditched her or something happened, and now she's a little spiteful. And I'm sure that she was just picked up and absorbed into the Inquisitorius, whether through brainwashing or torture or both. And now she's what she is. Yeah,
and I think a lot of our confusion about her character at this point is also because she killed the Grand Inquisitor, who shouldn't canonically be dead yet.
He cannot be dead because he has a big part to play 5 years from now in the Rebel series. And he's also in the comic books, which are canon. So I'm just looking at it just like what they did with Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian, how there was a little cybernetic thing, because they had a similar injury. They both kind of took it.
Or could they have cloned him? I mean, clones just exist everywhere. Could they have cloned him?
They do, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's. I think it's going to be. Look, Darth Maul was cut in half. He's all
alive.
good.
Yeah.
You had Fennec Shand. I think it'll be something explained away from cybernetics or whatever the case is.
And that's the thing with Star Wars is it's. I say lazy writing. We all accept it as just being part of the world, but it's everyone loves that guy. He can't be dead. Let's put him back together again.
Yeah, I feel like Maul, who is so far not in Kenobi, but just in general, characters like Maul have, from basically having no lines in The Phantom Menace at all,
to a fan favorite,
who's arguably, in my opinion, the most well-developed character in the entire franchise. Him and Ahsoka are easily the most developed, I think. And two sides of the same coin. Yeah.
And, there's, it was Star Wars Day or something recently.
That just, Celebration, I think.
It's Star Wars Celebration, thank you. And they announced a butt ton of more shows. I think most of them are animated at this point.
You had Cassian Andor.
Which we knew was coming. Ahsoka, we knew was coming.
They had Mandalorian season 3 that they showed exclusively there.
Yep. But there's new kid-aimed cartoons, not adult cartoons, kid-aimed ones.
Yeah, I know they're doing another Star Wars Vision season 2. I did not really watch any of season 1, so I don't know, but my friends who have seen it said it's really good, but they're also heavily into
Is that the one with the different art styles? Yeah.
So I'm into some anime, but I have friends who are like hardcore into anime, and I am not one of them. So
Yeah. So the question of like where Star Wars goes from here is always a big deal. There's people saying like, oh, we're moving on from the Skywalker saga, but here's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And here's Ahsoka. And here's, Luke is in Mandalorian. So
yeah.
Are we moving away from the Skywalker saga in movies and just putting them on TV? Or like what's happening here?
I think, well, I don't know because they're very popular right now.
I also don't need them to move away from the Skywalker saga. I'm fine with that.
I would like, I mean, The Mandalorian has proven that you don't need lightsabers or the Force. Yes, Grogu does some Force stuff here and there, but you don't need lightsabers or the Force or Skywalkers, although he came in season 2. But just going on season 1, you can still have the Star Wars feel.
Yeah.
And live in the Star Wars universe without having the Skywalkers or the Empire. I mean, yeah, they were in the backdrop, but they didn't take the forefront. I think what they should do, if they had enough gusto in them, is get as far away from the Skywalkers as possible. Space is a very big place. Go to another galaxy, create new planets, have a new menace, new heroes, no connection, and just go out there, because then you don't have to worry about canonical inconsistencies.
No lightsabers, no Jedi, no Sith, just a new brand of everything.
Easily the most toxic fan base in existence.
It is.
They cannot be made happy ever. And they're, I am one of them, but I am not one of those. So they're impossible to please. So I think you just got to have fresh characters, fresh stuff where no one can say, oh no, this breaks my headcanon. Because that's the entire problem. Everyone has their own headcanon that they assume is correct, and then when it doesn't happen, this sucks.
Because at one point there was so much canon with all the books and the comics and the this and then that, and then when Mickey Mouse came in and bought everything, it's like, this isn't canon anymore. This is still canon.
That became expanded universe.
There's just some confusion.
Yeah.
So to wrap up our Star Wars discussion, I think jury is clearly still out in the grand scheme for Obi-Wan Kenobi, but of the Disney Plus Star Warses, I think Mandalorian is still untouched at number 1. Kenobi looks like it's going to be a strong number 2, maybe even like a 1A, 1B situation. And then Book of Boba Fett is about 30 feet below all of them.
Going back into Kenobi, though, first of all, shout out to Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He's there.
Awesome that he kidnapped, little Leia.
He's there.
He couldn't be kidnapped by a cooler kidnapper.
Yep.
Liking that.
He was playing Danny California while chasing after him. Also, that chase scene was a little ridiculous. She's a 10-year-old.
I would also like to know why Reva felt the need to backflip to go forward rather than work with physics and forward flip to go forwards. But
she did
I'm not a Sith Inquisitor. I'm just a simple man. But
you are inquisiting about the
I am inquisitive. The other thing, and again, there's a lot of people are hating on Reva. I don't think she's that bad. Here are my little gripes. One, I don't like the look of the Grand Inquisitor. It makes no sense to me. We know what his race looks like from Revenge of the Sith. They have long limbs, narrow heads. They kind of look like the Nosferatu. That's on Utapau when he confronts Grievous, that character, I don't remember his name right now. That's what the Grand Inquisitor is supposed to look like. That's what his people look like. This looks like a terrible makeup job. He looks more like Dalsum to me.
I just don't like from I use the word practicality loosely because clearly we're talking about Star Wars. I don't know how you make a human being look like that. You'd have to put him on, like, add something to his head and neck
there
to
has
make
to be
it.
prosthetics, maybe a little CGI, but get creative. You got the budget, but then the other thing is that they're all telling Reva, oh, you're this, you're that, blah 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 blah, and because she's very savage, she's willing to kill anybody, do this, do that. But if you've seen the Inquisitors in Rebels, these same characters that we know, they are just as savage as she is, and I don't know why they're dumbing them down. I think they're making them a little
goofy,
dumbed down, and a little goofy to make her stand out.
Which is not her fault. That's the writer's fault.
No. It's not. No, the actress is fine. The character's fine. I mean, she's written. I mean, the Inquisitors themselves don't like her, so we're not supposed to like her. So all the haters who say, "Oh, I hate this character," you're supposed to, because her own people don't like her. But that's not bad acting. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
one thing that's a small gripe, but it is rather irritating to me. And if they do the direction I think they're going to do, I think it can be explained away. But when Reva is confronting Obi-Wan Kenobi at the top of the tower, and she's kind of taunting him and walking around, she reads his mind and tells him Anakin is still alive and taunts him with it. And to me, that's a problem, because yes, Obi-Wan has not used the Force and all that stuff, but he is still miles ahead of her. And I think that scene would have been much more impactful had the Grand Inquisitor delivered that, not Reva.
So you're saying it doesn't make sense for her to be able to get into his mind?
She should, well, not even just that. She should not know his identity, because it's a tight kept secret of Vader's identity. The Emperor knows. Obviously, we know Obi-Wan knows. We know, Luke, we know the people that know, but it is a tightly kept secret that no one is really supposed to know. And the other thing that doesn't make sense to me is we're talking about the Outer Rim territories, which are largely controlled by the Hutts and all that stuff. The Empire, even one of the peasants or whatever, the people says, "Oh, you have no authority here," blah 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 blah. But yet they all seem to know who the Sith Inquisitors are. They all seem to know what they're doing, but they don't know who Darth Vader is.
Yeah.
How does 10 years and the poster boy, who's the intimidating face of the Empire, who's inspiring fear across the galaxy, how do they know the Sith Inquisitors but not know the person they work for? And how to in any case, how does Kenobi not know? Because he's been on that planet the entire time.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. He should be aware of Vader. I mean, he should know this already. So the fact that 10 years go by and everyone knows the Inquisitors outside of Imperial territory, but they don't know Vader, that doesn't make sense to me.
And what's okay about these complaints and these things you're pointing out is that if you're just a casual viewer and I've seen Star Wars, I kind of like it.
Yeah, these things
don't bother you. These are for people who are really deep into what Star Wars lore is like.
I live, breathe, eat, sleep Star Wars. So the casual viewer probably would never pick this up, not care, not pick it apart. But these are things that I wonder.
Yeah.
I also like having Jimmy Smits back, and I think his return is impactful, especially when he relates to Kenobi. That you're the only one I trust to bring back my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great. So
yeah.
And the last thing I will say, and it's not a critique, it's something I like, is I like how Obi-Wan doesn't help that Jedi who's trying to get help, and then that Jedi dies literally he's found hanging immediately afterwards. Mm-hmm. So although maybe it's not mentioned, that guilt, that death is going to be staying with him because he died because he did nothing.
Yeah. Which
is something that the old Jedi in him never would have done. So between his PTSD, his lack of confidence in himself, being pretty much responsible for the death of this other Jedi, I think he has a lot of stuff to overcome and to become the Jedi Master we see next canonically, putting Darth Maul down for his canonical ending on Tatooine.
Yeah, it creates a literally a perfect hero arc. Mm-hmm. And we didn't see him in this show get beaten down, but we already know from what's happened before what has beaten him down.
Yeah. I have a couple predictions. And again, I haven't seen the third episode, so if you have, good for you. But my predictions are that Reva, at some point in the show, will be killed by Vader. I'm quite confident she is going to be killed by Vader. Maybe even for knowing Vader's identity, because he does not like people knowing that.
And because we know she doesn't exist.
No, outside of this show, there is no Reva. And
in the future, we don't even know anything about her.
In Rebels 5 years from now, there is no. Yeah. She does not exist. So clearly she dies. In my opinion, she dies, and I think Vader's the one to do it. I also think the first time Obi-Wan sees Vader again, I think he's going to try and bring him back to the good side, and I think he's going to get wrecked. I think he's going to get just destroyed by Vader. And I think I heard someone say they're going to battle twice in the show. I don't know, but I think the second time he has to beat Vader. Otherwise, the line in A New Hope doesn't make any sense when he says, you know, when I left you, I was the learner. Now I'm the master. The circle is complete. That line makes no sense if Obi-Wan doesn't come on top.
Yeah,
in this next battle.
I agree, and I'm anxious to see Vader. I'm anxious to see, like, getting Hayden Christensen back doesn't mean a ton to me because he's going to be dressed like Darth Vader the whole time, but maybe there'll be some flashbacks.
I hope they do some kind of like Tony Stark thing with him where you see his face inside the helmet.
Yeah, but his face doesn't, he looks like a matzo ball. He doesn't even look like what he's supposed to look like.
He that is true. I think they have said that James Earl Jones too is voicing him again.
Exactly. So he's there in literal, like, just body alone. Like, I don't know. But I'm all for bringing back.
Maybe they'll put him in flashbacks. Oh,
yeah, they'll film.
Before we end on Kenobi, I want to just throw my theory out there so I can take credit for it if it ends up being true.
Correct. Everybody make notes. Everybody make notes. Bookmark this.
Okay, so this is Luke's lightsaber.
Correct.
Right. And this is his green lightsaber, which he constructs and uses in Return of the Jedi after losing his lightsaber in Empire Strikes Back. As we know, it's his green one, right? And we know it's a deleted scene, but he goes back to Obi-Wan's hut to learn how to build the lightsaber, and that's where he does it, right? I think that he's building it with remnants of Qui-Gon's lightsaber, who was Obi-Wan's master, because I think Obi-Wan has that lightsaber, or at least the kyber crystals, in his house, in his hut, whatever. And I think the iconic Luke lightsaber, I think that green blade is from Qui-Gon.
And that would be super cool because Qui-Gon is the Jedi I don't think anybody dislikes. And there was never enough Qui-Gon because they had to kill him so early for Star Wars to exist. That would be super cool.
Yeah, that is my working theory.
Yeah, I enjoy that. Also, if it means we get to see Liam Neeson, I'm down. I'm so down.
Listen, you can't have the show end and not have Liam Neeson. Like, that's the payoff. Like, at some point, he has to make contact. If I don't hear his voice, look, I can live with not seeing his face, but I do at least need to hear his voice talking to Obi-Wan to get that payoff.
He just gets on the Tatooine cell phone and goes, Obi-Wan, you have a certain set of Jedi skills.
I think that's going to be the moment. Other theory. I think the moment Obi-Wan encounters Vader, and again, I'll say it, gets wrecked by Vader, who's coming at him with all hate, not any desire. I think he's going to be at his lowest point, and I think that's when Qui-Gon is going to talk to him finally. And I think at that moment we're going to see the reemergence of the Jedi Kenobi having his faith and reestablished and brought back to the surface. That's what I think should. Whether it will happen, I don't know, but to me it makes the most sense to happen.
I think that would be cool. Okay.
Moving on.
Let us move on to the wheel spin of wheel spins. So we have an update for you all who are watching. After some discussion amongst ourselves, Spider-Man on the cup right there, by the way. I saw the sticker. We are going to make a cut in the show when we do our deliberation and 5-minute discovery process for our characters, just to kind of just keep the flow going. Because even though it was sometimes cool to hear the banter back and forth, we'll just cut and get right back into this.
We know you got up to heat up a slice of pizza.
Someone's got to go pee-pee. I understand. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I've also been told that you guys can't see the wheel when I spin the wheel. You probably still won't be able to see it, but you'll have proof that I'm doing it.
But yeah, it is actually happening.
It is happening. Here we go. Would you like wheel 1 or 2?
Well, the past 2 episodes, I went with wheel 2. So this time, I'm going to go with wheel 1.
Okay. It's spinning. It's spinning. You really can't really tell, but it's going. And your character is Mockingbird. The Marvel character Mockingbird.
Okay.
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You did not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show, long enough to know she was there. She was played by a very pretty lady.
I think there was a little shout out to Mockingbird, though.
In Hawkeye. Yes. Yeah, not the same one,
Not the
unless
same one, but I think that might be a moniker that.
or yeah, Mockingbird is more like the Widows, like a collection of
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
That's
So
what I'm guessing.
my character. So viewers, we had to make a quick little edit there, but I have spun Black Adam.
Ah, man,
That's a cool one. We have
that is a cool one. I'm gonna get Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
yeah, you're gonna get we have a literal like demigod versus
people's eyebrow.
Yeah, we have the people's eyebrow versus a woman with batons. Oh, and a cat.
This
is Jinx. He's a cat. He does not look pleased.
He does not.
All right. So, viewers, for you, this will take no time, but we're going to take a quick cut here, a quick break. We'll be back to battle Mockingbird versus Black Adam.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
All right, everybody, we've returned. As I've said, this probably lasted a whole 2 seconds of break time in between where we cut and where we are again. Quick update. We forgot to do this at the top of the show. Actually, we just decided it right now. We are no longer going to do the Wheel of Situations. Last week, it kind of came into play. Definitely. I messed up and forgot we had a Wheel of Situations. But it can be redundant. It can also be irrelevant depending on what we spin. And, you know, like this fight that we have right now, Black Adam versus Mockingbird. Not that I'm trying to keep my very clear advantage that I have, but there is no world in which Mockingbird could probably defeat Black Adam. So let's just eliminate the Wheel of Situations.
I will acknowledge this as well.
So
I'm just going to do my best.
Yeah, do your darndest. So I will allow you to make your opening argument / statement, to which I will counter.
Okay. So Mockingbird, real name Barbara Morse, is a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's a S.H.I.E.L.D. operative. She is, for the most part, very human. She has no special powers. She did drink a cocktail of the super soldier serum and the Infinity Formula to both get some strength like Captain America, maybe not to the extent he has it, but also slow her aging like Nick Fury. So that's good. But that was also after she incurred a mortal injury that could have killed her. So she's seen some stuff. She's been through some stuff. She is an expert in martial arts, espionage, as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., typical spy kind of stuff. She has a PhD in biology, which is
neato,
very good, but probably won't help you against Black Adam.
No.
She was married to Hawkeye at some point. She's an expert marksman, not to the degree Hawkeye is, but she is an expert marksman. She was married to a Khazar, who's essentially like Tarzan. That does not also help her in her thing against Black Adam. So I'm going to have to extrapolate, which is a word we're going to use here, that given this being the case, that maybe being an operative of S.H.I.E.L.D., that S.H.I.E.L.D. knows quite a few things. They are keeping the ear close to the ground, getting some intel.
Your resources.
We have resources, a vast international network and interplanetary network of information coming in from Skrulls, from superheroes, from all sorts of places.
Well, now, does this span comic book universes as well?
It has to, because we're fighting each other.
Well, we're dropping them into an interdimension.
True. I'm going to say it probably does, because
I'll allow it.
Because for two very good reasons. One, DC Comics, to which Black Adam is from, does acknowledge the existence of the Marvel universe and vice versa, and has universe designations. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they acknowledge one another as a separate universe but does exist,
it's fair.
To me, gives it extremely loose, but it does have connectivity.
It's fair.
There's also been past storylines where you've had DC comic book characters meet up with Marvel ones. So fair. That being the case, I would assume it is possible. Maybe doesn't have a wealth of information, but maybe there would be some, especially given his Egyptian connection. Maybe there's some.
Well, maybe they've studied Mark Spector enough to learn a little bit about the Egyptian gods and Black Adam.
Maybe Mark Spector dropped me a line and said, "Hey, watch out for this guy."
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is playing him, considering he was the Scorpion King in the Mummy movies.
That's true.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I'm not advocating him. Obviously, I'm advocating her. This is a tough sell, even for me, who's advocating her. So I'm going to kind of go the Batman route with this, in that the intel that she would gather concerning Black Adam would be of some assistance to her in determining what weaknesses he might have.
Okay.
In a fight. I'll see how far that goes, because unlike Batman, I don't have a genius intellect and master tactician or all that, and I'm certainly not Batman. I'm Mockingbird. Interestingly enough, at one point she was called the Huntress, and the Huntress is a DC character. So.
Yes. I have two main counterpoints.
Sure.
Well, three. We'll go three main counterpoints. Number one, you mentioned mortal injury. I can't sustain those.
No,
I am what they call immortal.
Correct.
Cannot be killed. Okay, we'll live forever.
Well,
we'll live forever.
Immortal is will live forever. Doesn't mean you're invulnerable.
Fair.
But I can tell you from what I know, you were mostly invulnerable.
Yes. Point number two. You are a human being. I am a human being that is now essentially an Egyptian god, or has been bestowed the powers of several Egyptian gods into me. Also, lastly, I am Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I am a chiseled, very wealthy, very interesting fella who also enjoys tequila and has a really cool people's eyebrow. So
the people's eyebrow might be your deadliest weapon.
Yeah, just hit you with a, I can't do the eyebrow raise, but just a quick turnaround and get you all scared.
I got it.
There you go. I can't do that. But in all seriousness, brute strength, me. Superhuman abilities that will aid in combat, me. You talk about how you have enhanced power and maybe speed and agility, which I'm not saying Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is gospel.
I would go more in my own headspace that she did take the cocktail, the super soldier serum, but it's to my knowledge, no level of success has been equal to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, even if your senses and abilities have been raised this much, I'm still up here in comparison.
Listen, this is a classic David and Goliath story,
except
I'm not going to win.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's happening right now.
So,
although instead of a slingshot, I have helicarriers, lots of guns, lots of operatives of lesser rank to me. See, I know we had the rule about, you can't get other people involved. However, in her situation, I feel that's an inevitable. No shield operative in this situation. Yeah,
you don't get all of shield, but I'll give you a small troop of army, like a small
lesser no-name.
Yeah.
I call them wasties. Those no-name people who just die.
Yeah. So walk with me here. I understand there is more canonically to these people depending on what media you're consuming. But let's just take the two live action versions in costume that we've gotten. I am not counting the Hawkeye version, who we expect to be Mockingbird. I am counting the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version. I am counting the trailer for the upcoming Black Adam movie.
Yes.
In the Black Adam trailer, which again is not necessarily gospel, it's just kind of the example I'm using here.
Yep.
It is abundantly clear that Black Adam is maybe the most powerful DC character they've introduced. Especially because they don't know how to make Superman. Different discussion. He can just turn human beings to dust. He's incredibly powerful. He's incredibly good looking. And he's literally powered by Egyptian gods. Like, it's not the Energizer Bunny, it's the Energizer Egyptian gods. Whereas Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the end. It went off the rails quickly. It was a more humanized version or grounded version of Shield. Yes, they were essentially metas and superhumans, and they tried to bring the Inhumans into it at a point, which was a little strange. But like Bobby Morse is your neighbor. She's exceptionally well trained, super agile, super quick, a great fighter, very smart as far as like tactically and strategy and things like that. But she is a human.
I know martial arts.
I probably know the Egyptian god who helped create a certain fighting style. I mean, like,
likely. I'm just throwing it out there. Really, really do.
I can also, the most important thing, I can hover and fly. So you can start kicking and punching and doing whatever you want to the air, karate chops, and I'll just like strike you down with a bolt of lightning or something.
Look, I think I'm going to throw out all my assets here. Yes. But I think the viewers, I think you, I think myself, if we're intellectually honest.
Yes.
We both know how this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. All right.
For the sake of making it a fight.
For the sake of making it a fight.
Cooler suit, by the way. I have the cooler costume.
You definitely do.
I generally don't love capes, just like from The Incredibles, where the lady goes, "No capes." Yeah. But my cape is pretty cool.
It's not bad.
Edna Mode, that's her name. Edna Mode. I remember.
I would also have to say that it's not like we don't use kryptonite on you, so I don't get the kryptonite advantage that that would help me here.
And I mean, I'm a foil to Superman and Shazam, who is like a children's version of Superman. Two exceptionally powerful characters that they've enlisted and entrusted me to be their foil, which means I can at least compete with those characters.
True. That is true. I would just have to just pilot that helicarrier and just unload absolute hell on you.
And you did make a good point, and I'll humor the good point. So let's say you have all this intel. Maybe you do find a weakness or a soft spot, whether that be physically or like something that makes sense story-wise. Like, oh, my daughter. I don't even know. Like, I might have made that up. I have no clue. I still think you need more help to achieve your end game.
I do. I think my brain is formulating a plan.
Okay. I'm ready to listen to the
plan. Will need some leeway with it.
Well,
granted.
If you admit that I've won, we'll have your leeway.
You won.
Okay. Let's just explore
this is where I'm going.
Okay.
So, all right. So we know I have a tremendous amount of intel. We know I have a PhD in biology.
Yes.
Which means I'm pretty smart. Maybe not the smartest, but I'm book smart. I can study. I'm pretty smart. Mm-hmm. I might know another doctor who's also very smart. Named Stephen Strange.
Oh, okay.
Who happens to be the Sorcerer Supreme.
And I have a magic or vulnerability.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And through our collective PhDs, we're both in the medical community. Stephen knows that this is a big fight for me. I'm likely going to die.
Perish.
That
vaporized. Even
he would maybe teach me a few spells that hopefully would be somewhat effective with your magical vulnerability.
So Mockingbird plus Sling Ring equals potential chance in this fight.
I think Stephen Strange might give me that proverbial rock to throw at you, and potentially.
Maybe you can use his floating cape.
Maybe I can use that cape. Maybe, because we know Spider-Man used it in What If.
Yeah.
But maybe he can look into all possible scenarios where I might pull a victory and present me with the one.
Can I have my friend Dr. Fate come and play? Because then I feel like they match each other a little bit.
He's a poor man, Stephen Strange. He's a poor man, Stephen Strange.
Yeah, this fight was fun for me. See, like in the last battle, we were able to have some mock back and forth. Not so much a play-by-play, but more of like a scenario-based what would happen if. I don't think there's much of a what would happen if in this fight.
Yeah.
Unless you find a way to entomb me again. That would require magic, though.
It would require magic, and some studying at Strange's Academy.
It's kind of, so I equated the Black Adam trailer, at least the opening part of the Black Adam trailer, because I'm a Power Rangers nerd, to Rita Repulsa coming out of the dumpster.
Sure.
Like, oh, after 10,000 years, I'm free because these idiots just knocked the top of my dumpster.
Now it's time to conquer Earth.
Yeah, so like basically Black Adam was like, oh, these morons kicked over my tomb and here I am.
Yeah, I think again, we can't pull other people into this as per our rules. But yeah, this is quite a tough one. It is now, a tough one.
What would Mockingbird herself have to become to at least stand a chance? Like, would she have to actually be superhuman?
Probably.
Like, if Captain America or Captain Carter had Mockingbird's skills, that might, and intellect and resources, that might be the only chance. Well,
here's the problem we run into. Let's pretend for a second that
because your best weapon is a set of batons.
Correct.
I know you're a marksman,
but I do know how to use a gun too.
You're generally equipped with batons and like a pistol.
Yeah, it's kind of my trademark thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Captain America could win this fight either.
No. But he could do this all day.
But he could do this all day, and he has America's butt. So, yeah. In a lot of these situations, the only thing that can save a significantly weaker character from a significantly stronger character
is lazy writing.
Is the writer of the comic.
Yeah.
So, that's
and all of a sudden, Black Adam was hit by a jumbo jet coming through the sky, and he was dead.
Yeah,
no, there's no way.
No, there's really, I want to come up with something super creative, but it would probably break multiple rules we've established. It would be exceptionally far-fetched. This is not a fight Mockingbird would ever enter into to begin with. She's a spy. She's an agent. She's going into.
This would be the Avengers level threat that she would alert the Avengers.
This is something for the Avengers, not for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
S.H.I.E.L.D. would be maybe transporting the Avengers to where they got to go, but this is not a Mockingbird mission that she would ever take on herself.
And none of this is to demean Mockingbird, because I personally think as a character, especially from what I've seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what they've teased with Hawkeye and what I just know from like doing some research, incredibly cool character. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or just S.H.I.E.L.D. in general is littered with cool characters that maybe they're just normal.
There's nothing wrong with her. She's just
normal people.
Yeah, she's just out of her depth. She's a great character. It's just
this is just an Egyptian god versus a human.
I mean, maybe she could talk to Moon Knight and they can swap notes and see what's going on there. Maybe Khonshu can lend a hand, but we cannot go that route. So all she could do is study and read up, but that might take a few years. So
also, are we to assume that S.H.I.E.L.D., let's act MCU now, not comic books, S.H.I.E.L.D. knows about Mark Spector, right? Or was he actually that far off the grid that they wouldn't?
We're talking MCU or
MCU.
Okay. I would think, because S.H.I.E.L.D. was in the beginning, S.H.I.E.L.D. was canon with the MCU. Then it wasn't, and now it sort of is. But
just whatever the MCU's new version of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, whatever Nick Fury oversaw.
Sure. So I think they would probably be aware of either some version of Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm. I mean, post Godzilla fight, they know something happened in Egypt.
That's an interesting thing. That's a topic for another day. But I have thoughts on that. But
yeah, like how come the Avengers didn't just stop by while there were two behemoths fighting in the middle of Egypt? It's okay.
Exactly. Maybe. Yeah, there's really no scenario where this works in my favor.
Yeah, and I don't even enlisting Moon Knight's help, other than his knowledge, would not help you. I think I'd still win unless you had tower-sized Khonshu.
Yeah, I also don't think Khonshu would get involved anyway. So
he'd be like, "Oh, Black Adam's strong. Good luck."
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I think she would throw every helicarrier, every resource S.H.I.E.L.D. has at you, multiple agents, gunfire, rockets, whatever. I mean, it would essentially be the Godzilla fight where you have multitude of tanks and bullets
and I would just be up there floating in the sky with my arms raised and my veins bulging out of my neck, singing that song from Moana. Because that's the song that The Rock sang in Moana.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Moana. Great movie.
I did see Moana.
Yeah, he sang the song.
I enjoy Moana.
Something, how are you? I don't even know what the lyrics are. I probably just got that wrong. Something about being positive and chipper and happy.
Yeah. Barbara Morse is a great character.
Mm-hmm.
She's just not a character who could stand toe to toe with Black Adam.
No, this is one of the examples of where DC characters are almost all that superhuman powerful, whereas a lot of Marvel characters have that really grounded human nature or element to them. Like even Captain America, yes, he's a super soldier. That man is a human. Like he walks down the street and they go, "Oh, Steve Rogers." In DC, totally different.
Look, if I had Batman, I could come up with a million scenarios how I might be able to work around.
Well, you also have all your Bat vehicles.
I have Bat vehicles.
Yeah.
I did training all around the world.
And if you're Adam,
I'm not going to.
We have Adam West Batman on the wheel, which is a different Batman than what you get. So you'd also have like your special Batto spray and Batto this and whatever.
Which would definitely. He probably has a Black Adam spray. He pulls out.
Yeah.
So he would win that in a heartbeat. But yeah, that's another episode. And I'm not going to go into that or cut my content on another potential episode because I don't know what else to say about Mockingbird.
Yes.
So I think Mockingbird would put up the best possible fight she could
and perish.
I think she would die honorably.
Correct. And it would be a mercy killing. It would not be torture.
Yeah.
All right. So W for me, inevitably, unfortunately. I really even didn't even break a sweat in this.
It's definitely, you got the W. I gotta clearly hand it to you. I think the only possible way I could pull a win,
is if Grogu deems it so.
is if Grogu armed, with
his lightsaber. He does a little backflip. He burps, and suddenly, like the Force comes out. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to win that. So
yeah, so a win for me. Jam-packed episode. We talked Stranger Things, Kenobi, a bunch of other stuff. There's one last thing to give you, and it is, I guess, something we're just gonna do now. Words of wisdom. Take us home.
Okay, so and again, going with accuracy adjacent. I feel like that was a perfect description that you gave was accuracy adjacent, right? So I'm going to give a quote that and again, I'm just going verbatim. This may be exactly accurate. It may not be, but I'm going to go with this. Thomas Edison okay, may have possibly said this, perhaps.
Good old Tommy Boy. I heard Tommy Boy, the movie, was based off Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah. Many of life's failures and people who don't realize how close they were to success. I'll say that again because I think I screwed that up.
Okay. Quote accuracy adjacent.
Sure. Many of life's failures are people who don't realize how close they were to success by hitting the like button down below and subscribing to the channel.
See you next week.